I collect my roommate's toenails and fingernails, and I don't know how to stop. I would see them on the floor in our living room. It started off with me getting really upset about it, and then as time went on, I kind of just started collecting them.
How do you think he would react if you found out?
We're both pretty weird. I don't think it would be a deal breaker for the friendship.
Do you have any sort of master plan, something that you want to do with these fingernails and toenails?
I want to burn them to see how they smell.
Interesting.
Woo, what an opening. Podcast listeners, this one's for you. I'm Taz Mellis, and with me here in the studio, it's the bearded one, Trey Kirby.
Hey-o.
Hey-yo. The international man mystery, Lee Ellis.
Friends.
Lele, watch your toenails. And the man making the magic happen, it's JD.
Hello.
There he is. No Skeets today, but you can catch him following Game 6 for an immediate reaction on YouTube, and it's turned into a podcast. We shall be talking about that game a little bit later in the show. But first, we got some action around the league with some trades.
Spicy.
So let's get to the up-down report.
Prepare your tunties. It's the up-down report.
Yeah, the trade. Teams who aren't in the finals, they can make trades.
Yes,
they're allowed. Teams in the finals, they can't do that. That's not legal.
Too late.
So here we go. The first one, Mavericks acquired 26-year-old center Christian Wood from the Rockets in exchange for the 26th pick in next week's draft, plus 4 players: Boban Marjanovic, Trey Burke, Sterling Brown, and Marquise Chris. This trade first reported by The Athletic. So let's go from the Mavs side, Lee. Up or down on the Mavs snagging Wood?
Well, up. They needed a center. They needed a big man. They needed someone who could defend a little bit, rebound a little bit. But Christian Wood also offensively, that's where he's actually his strength. He can shoot the three-pointer. He shoots 38% over the last 2 seasons at 5 a game. He can catch some oops. He averages, I mean, look, he's been on a team that's been bad the last 2 years. So a lot of his production could be put down to like good numbers on a bad team, or it could be just like, hey, get this guy in a good situation, and those numbers could be legit. I think the Dallas Mavericks, clearly we saw, they got away with it against the Phoenix Suns playing small ball, but you needed someone, you needed an upgrade on Dwight Powell, in the middle there. So they get that. It's pretty low risk. I mean, the 26th pick, the Mavs are not a team that traditionally likes to rebuild. They're not in rebuild mode. They want to be, they're in win now mode, so they want to do this. They're saying, have the 26th pick, because essentially that's all the trade is Christian Wood for the 26th pick. Those players, Chris, Brown, Trey Burke,
Boban.
They're just there just to make up the salary. They probably, I'll be shocked if any of them last in Houston there. And also for Christian Wood, look, he's on the last year of his deal. And so for the Mavericks, it's like you get a bit of a look at this guy to see if he is a long-term fit, because he's a talented player, but he's also got some issues. Defensively, it's more an attitude thing. I see a lot of Hassan Whiteside in him. I think he could be a better defender, but it's an effort, it's an attitude. And again, this is something when you're on the Houston Rockets team that's rebuilding and tanking, it's hard for a guy to be super motivated. He's also had a few issues in the locker room throughout his career. So the Mavericks are basically saying, let's just take a look at this guy. They can extend him if they want, but I think they're more likely to probably just play out certainly most of the season and then decide whether or not he's going to be a long-term fit there. But overall, I think it's a good move here for the Dallas Mavericks. I'm a little surprised that Christian Wood couldn't get more on the market, because a 26th pick in the draft, we talk about it all the time, a deep late pick versus a guy who at least has been on the court and we've seen what he can get. It's like, what is there a better pick or a better option at 26? Maybe, but that's such a long-term thing, a long way off. You don't really know exactly how that's going to play out. So I like it for Dallas. I don't think they're finished. I think they still need more improvements, but I think they addressed probably their most pressing need right now, which is just a better, bigger interior presence.
Trey, what are your takes on both sides?
Yeah, I actually feel like Lee Ellis here. This is a very solid trade. 2 thumbs up. I'm going up for both sides here, because like Lee is saying, I think this is a pretty solid gamble for the Mavericks here. They've traded guys who are barely in their rotation in the 4 players they sent out for a position of need. Certainly, the Mavericks needed to beef up their interior a little bit. Wood is still a little bit of an unknown. I think he's a talented guy. He's really good on the glass. He's a good roll man like Dwight Powell is. He's a good pick and pop guy like Maxi Kleber is. He can score with the ball in his hands if he absolutely needs to. He's kind of like a junior Anthony Davis in the way he plays out there. But also like Anthony Davis, sometimes lacking in physicality. There have been locker room concerns, like Lee is saying, with Christian Wood, and we haven't seen him play for a team playing really competitive basketball. Haven't seen him in the playoffs, so who knows how that turns out. That being said, they sent out a 26th pick. I think Christian Wood is going to help them more this coming season than a 26th pick would, and it doesn't totally take the Mavericks out of contention for a Gobert either. I don't necessarily know if you want two big guys out there, but at least Wood has a little bit of stretchiness to him, can play on the perimeter some. So really nice for the Mavericks to be able to get a starting quality center at the very least for a late round draft pick. And I think this is pretty nice for the Rockets as well, because they're turning Christian Wood's expiring contract into another first round pick, which they could use in another package or just draft and stash a player. Clears a little room for Alperen Şengün, who had a nice season last year but was a little bit stuck behind Christian Wood. And it seems like at the third pick, the Rockets are going to be getting another front court player.
Yeah.
Who knows if it's going to be Chet or Paolo Banchero, but it's going to be a big guy. So getting Christian Wood out of the way, not going to be a long-term part of their future there. Very smart for the Rockets to cash in an expiring contract for a little bit of an asset. And who knows what they get from any of these four guys. At least they're getting a fan favorite in Boban. Sterling Brown was a Rocket once upon a time. I don't really think it's about the players. It's about clearing space for the guys you already got and getting another pick. So I think a win-win all around actually here.
It would have been extremely clogged for the Rockets to keep Christian Wood around. Now, they signed him a couple years ago thinking maybe we're going to be a good team. With the John Wall scenario, James Harden was obviously
It is weird
there.
that he played with James Harden.
Yeah.
That's surprising to me.
Right. But he's never really been on a very good team. This is totally different. Let's look at Andrew Wiggins right now in the finals. He went from being a number 1, number 2 role with the Wolves. Now Christian Wood will be on a good team. This is going to be his 7th team in 8 years. So you can label him as a problem child for whatever reason. Because,
journeyman.
Yeah, he's definitely a journeyman. Definitely didn't find his legs in the NBA for several years. Then he had that year with the Pistons where he garnered some most improved player talk. Then the Rockets said, all right, we'll take that most improved player, sign him to a $39 million deal. But we saw him through 2 years where the numbers are good offensively. And he created for himself because the Rockets were so sparse at the guard spot. Yeah, he played a little with Harden, but then they went to John Wall. So he was good at just being a really good offensive player. And I get the Hassan Whiteside comparisons. Maybe doesn't really get after it defensively, but he's a great defensive rebounder. We just watched the Mavs get crushed on the offensive glass by the Golden State Warriors. So if you put him on a good team, is he going to perform on the defensive end? That's your wish, and it's a 1-year risk for the number 26 pick, essentially. Not bad at all. And he's worked before with assistant Sean Sweeney, who's part of Kid's staff, and he coached him in Detroit. And so maybe there's a relationship there. He's the guy who handles the defense on the Mavs. Again, he's on the glass. If it doesn't work out, you gave up the 26th pick. Not terrible, but the Rockets, they want to go and get younger. And that's a good move by Raphael Stone in their front office. I like the move when they signed Christian Wood, but now, they've got the 3rd, the 17th, and the 26th pick. They've got Şengün, who they think is a steal in last year's draft. I agree. Good for both sides. And
Nicely done, everyone.
Yeah, very nicely done. And thank you for the content.
Yeah, and the thing was last season there was talk about Jalen Green or Evan Mobley, and they went with Green because I think Wood was there at the time. They were thinking he's going to be our long-term sort of big. Not really the case. But again, they've still got Jalen Green. He's good. I think Mobley is better from what we've seen in one season. But at least now they get almost another chance at that because one of the top 3 is going to be a big man. So, I think they're going to get in on that. And but that's the thing. The Rockets are certainly moving towards, we're in complete rebuild mode here. They're not looking to win right now. And Christian Wood, he's 26, but again, for a guy who's bounced around a lot, I think he just wants to settle on a team. And the Mavs give him that chance. And remember when Hassan Whiteside, the comparison not just on the court, but he bounced around all over Europe and a few teams. And then he got to Miami and he played well. And they gave him that big contract. So, that's where Christian Wood, if he works out for the Mavericks this season, he could find himself a long-term piece of that team.
You reminded me that the Rockets took Jalen Green over Evan Mobley last year in the draft. Just kind of surprising with the way it shook out at number 2 that Green was selected over Mobley. just forgot the order, I guess. So, but Jalen Green ended up having a good couple
He finished
months.
well, he
great
did.
second half.
But I know that was a lot of talk amongst Rockets fans. It was like, we probably should take Mobley here. But there was like, well, you've got Wood, so it's a bit of a, do you draft for position or do you draft the best player? I think they probably drafted for position more than the best player. Ultimately, though, we're not in the Sam Bowie stage yet where it's like, oh my God, how could you have missed on Evan Mobley? But Evan Mobley clearly had a stronger rookie season than Jalen Green overall.
And we skipped over it, but he is a really good three-point shooter. The percentage is 38-39%. Luka's should make that even go higher if they work together on that end of the floor.
Yeah.
So looking forward to that. All right, next one in the up-down report here. According to Jake Fisher of Bleacher Report, Zach LaVine's free agency has generated plenty of conversation among NBA personnel over the past few weeks. But despite rumblings that the Blazers, Spurs, Hawks, and Lakers will make plays for LaVine, Fisher sources at Bleacher Report say the coveted free agent is likely to remain with the Bulls. So Trey, up or down on LaVine likely re-signing with your Chicago Bulls?
Oh, I'm up on this one. It has been a while. The Bulls are Zach! This is an encouraging report here because early news, basically as soon as the Bulls were eliminated, was that LaVine was going to be shopping around. This is his real first free agency, going to be entertaining offers from all of these other teams that Jake Fisher listed there over at Bleacher Report. It definitely felt like a leverage play, saying I could go anywhere else. You're going to have to drop the bag if you want to keep me around. Now it feels like the Bulls, the Bears. Sorry. I was reading about Justin Fields this morning. Apparently he's throwing the ball really well at minicamp. The Bulls, though, it seems they're preparing to bequeath the bag to Zach LaVine, which is really good news because it means the Bulls aren't pulling another Jimmy Butler here, trading away or letting leave their star after the best season of his career when he's in his prime. I also think LaVine deserves it a little bit for putting up with 2 seasons of Jim Boylan and not having a real team around him for the first couple of years he was there. Once Vucevic was traded for, once DeRozan came in, they made the moves for Lonzo and Caruso. LaVine actually got to play on a talented team for the first time in his career. I mean, kind of excepting Minnesota. Those guys were just too young at the beginning of his career, but they were able to put it together. He had an awesome first half of the season. Struggled, though, no doubt, when he started dealing with knee injuries. He had surgery in May. That's certainly a concern going forward at the end of the deal, whatever it may be, but maybe the Bulls will be able to get a little discount on the 5th year or something along those lines. But I'm very happy to see that LaVine should be re-signing with the Bulls. It seemed like a given going into the season, but maybe there were some question marks as soon as they were eliminated. The other thing I like is that every report you hear about the Bulls leads to them somehow improving the team. They're in the mix for Rudy Gobert, even if they're not going to necessarily be able to pull it off. They're apparently shopping Kobe White and their 18th pick in this year's draft to try and find somebody to help for next season as well. It just doesn't feel like the Bulls are standing pat after finally getting back into the playoffs.
Yeah, I think they're going to make a move, but it's not going to be DeRozan or LaVine or, a Lonzo Ball or anyone like that. It has to be, they have to sort of keep at least those 2 scorers together. But the only concern, and you address it there, is the knee injury with Zach LaVine, because apart from his second season, he's never played 82 and he missed an entire season as well with a knee injury. So if you're the Bulls, they're probably like, do we really want to lock him in guaranteed max for 5 years? And I think they probably won't do that. I think they'll probably do some sort of 4-year with maybe a team option or stipulations, basically, almost like Joel Embiid, because Zach LaVine is very athletic, very explosive, but he's also 27 now, and if those knee injuries are going to start to add up, it's going to obviously limit his effectiveness. His numbers overall were very good last season, but his shooting did drop a little bit, and also, defensively, there's still some work to be done on him there. So I think it's probably a little bit of both. The Bulls are like, we're a little hesitant to go super max, or the max we can give him here. Zach's also basically done a smart move by saying, I think there's plenty of teams that will sign me. He's been linked to Portland and the Lakers and things like that. And so the Bulls are like, we probably better just lock him up now, and then if it doesn't work out, he's still going to be movable again because he's only 27. He's still young enough and he's still dynamic enough offensively that plenty of teams would be interested in him. But I just think that knee is, both teams are a little bit like, Zach's probably like, it's fine. But the Bulls are like, we haven't seen you play more than 67 games in a Chicago Bulls uniform. And that's a bit of a concern.
He played 60 in a 65 game season. That's all right.
Okay, well, we'll give him that. We'll give him that. That was what, I guess, the
shortened season.
Shortened season there. And then, and there was only 72 last season as well there. So it's not too bad. But it just, to me, me, it's just one of those. It's a red flag for sure.
He was limping around at the end of last year and definitely didn't look like himself come playoff time.
Yeah.
Really wasn't able to have a huge impact against the Bucks in their series. But I mean, it makes sense. Maybe at the end of his contract, they're regretting it a little, but I assume he'll still be a pretty solid shooter. He's been basically 40% over the course of the last 2 years. And at that point, he becomes J.R. Smith, and maybe contending teams are like, sure, we could use Zach LaVine as our sixth man off the bench.
Yeah.
And I think all those teams that are rumored to want Zach LaVine, I think they're just all rumors in terms of him weighing that versus the Bulls. Mm-hmm. Because I said he's one of the most coveted free agents. He may be the most coveted free agent in this year's class when looking at it. So, yeah, of course the teams with cap room are going to want the best free agent. And I say the best free agent because the other ones really have player options or depending on their scenarios, Beal, Kyrie, and you're getting into your Hardens and your Westbrook. So, yeah. If you're sitting there and you're the Blazers, yes, we would like Zach LaVine, and maybe it's a leverage play, as you said there, Trey, but why would he leave? I find that hard to believe. This is the first time he made the playoffs in his long career, 8-year career. He understands that you need good players around him, and I bring that up because maybe he wants to go be a number one guy with the bullet. I guess that I don't think that's the case, but that would be the only reason for him to leave, in my opinion. You get to put on the red and white. You get to play in Chicago. You just made the play. Like he's been on other good situations before, like USA Basketball. Not good at situations in the NBA, but he knows that you need good players in the NBA. And the Bulls, I think this should just be a stepping stone in terms of going for it, because they gave up picks and the whole bag, the whole cupboard for Vucevic last year. They're really going for it, and I don't think they would stop now. It doesn't really make sense. So I think this is just, again, another stepping stone to maybe getting a big that's not Vucevic or somebody else. And, of course, the injuries are a concern, more so combined with the fact that Lonzo Ball hasn't been able to play a full season in the NBA. There's the Caruso. Then there's DeRozan getting a little bit older. But Zach ain't going anywhere.
I mean, but Reisdorf is known to be thrifty.
Yes.
And if there's any sort of concerns injury-wise, I think that's where he will probably make sure that they aren't sort of fully committed without any wiggle room. That's where I think so.
Okay.
But look, I mean, this was an incredible season certainly for 3/4 of the season for Chicago. DeRozan and LaVine really slotted together perfectly well. There was some, I think, unconfirmed reports that Zach was getting a little bit. He wanted more of the attention in the fourth quarter there. I don't believe that from what I saw on the court. I think he was more than happy with seeing DeRozan close out games the way he did.
A lot of hugs for DeMar.
Yeah, I don't think there's any tension there between those two. I honestly think, and again, going back to your point, this is the best team he's been on, where it's like DeRozan can carry without having to do all the work. Zach gets plenty of opportunity to score and be the man throughout the game. So I don't think there's any drama there between him and DeMar.
All right, moving on. Next one here. This one happened late last week, but we didn't talk about it, so let's get into it. The Charlotte Hornets have hired Warriors assistant Kenny Atkinson to be their new head coach. Atkinson signing a 4-year deal with Michael Jordan's Hornets. Just wanted to get that in there. Anyways, up or down on the Hornets hiring Kenny Atkinson. I'll get us started here. His only coaching job was with the Brooklyn Nets. From 2016 to 2020, he's been an assistant since. With the Nets, he started coaching a team that was 20-62 in year one. They developed into a playoff team. He developed a lot of young guys from Jared Allen, Joe Harris, Spencer Dinwiddie, Karis LeVert. They were a top 10 defensive team his last full year. And team is the key word. I think they played like one. They were sort of a darling of the NBA. Look at this team, sort of better than the sum of its parts. That's exactly what the Charlotte Hornets need. And I buy it. And if you go back a couple months to these current Brooklyn Nets, when they flamed out of the playoffs, GM Sean Marks said, "We took a step back. The culture isn't quite what it was the last couple years." And, he was referring to, the superstars kind of doing what they wanted and the culture wasn't there. Well, the Hornets need that to go back to, the Kenny Atkinson era, or to move over to the Kenny Atkinson era of the Brooklyn Nets. LaMelo Ball, Miles Bridges, Terry Rozier, great offensive players, good offensive year, not a very good defensive year whatsoever. And I think Kenny Atkinson can pull that out of those guys. I know they need some personnel changes, But as we saw, I know Jared Allen, a really good defender, but he was coaching guys like D'Angelo Russell and Spencer Dinwiddie into a very good defensive squad. So I think Kenny Atkinson deserves a second shot. He was axed in that first Kyrie Irving / Kevin Durant year when, even though they went on to the playoffs for the second year in a row, seemed to be rumblings about Kyrie not liking Kenny Atkinson and not liking this whole team thing. I
love the culture, just not the guy who said it.
Yeah, and Sean Marks may regret that move when he looks back. But how do you like Kenny going to the Charlotte Hornets?
I like it on the surface. I think he is the right choice for that team. They need someone who can be that player's coach, where guys do respond to him, because Spencer Dinwiddie, he rebirthed his career, I think, under Kenny Atkinson. D'Angelo Russell was an all-star there, and he hasn't really gotten close to those heights ever since. Now he's also moved around. But they were a team that you looked at. Remember the bench celebrations? They were dancing, kicking their legs up. But I bring that up because he brought all that sort of that chemistry together where they were all on the same page, and he got a lot out of that team, and that's obviously what the Hornets are banking on here, that he can get them to a different level. Now, the biggest thing still for the Hornets is defensively they need a big as well. They were running out Plumlee last season, and they just need someone else better there. So they still have to improve the roster, but I'm hoping and expecting him to just sort of see LaMelo and Miles Bridges and see what he can get out of Bouknight. I mean, he was their draft pick last season who barely played at all. Can he get these guys again? Can he replicate what he did in Brooklyn and get these guys playing at a higher level? Because it's a bit of a disaster that they haven't made the playoffs in the last couple of seasons. I think they had a good season this year and then got to the play-in, and it was a complete disaster for them. So they need to improve, and they're banking on Kenny Atkinson having that same impact that he had in Brooklyn. So I like it. I certainly like it more than the D'Antoni fit for that team. D'Antoni was also rumoured because you know that they would just go out there and score maybe 160 points a game. Fine. But I'm not sure he would have developed anyone or done anything defensively. So I think Kenny Atkinson is a better long-term fit for this team. And if he can unlock some of these guys and make them better defensively as well, then things should improve in Charlotte.
See, I was hoping it was going to be Mike D'Antoni because I think it would have been the most hilarious match of, we've got a fun offense, we can score a bunch of points, we play fast, but we don't play defense. So let's just double down on that with D'Antoni, but honestly, this is still an up. This is a great move for the Hornets. Like you mentioned, Tass, the underdog Nets, when they were putting their team together, with Russell and Allen, they were fun to watch as well, and they kind of were just a very good feel-good story. I assume this will be really good for LaMelo's development in particular. That was where D'Angelo Russell was at his best, though he had a nice season until the until the playoffs with the Timberwolves this year. But player development is going to be huge for the Hornets because they're a team that's going to have to basically build through the draft and through, like second-tier free agents. So they're going to be taking chances on young guys who maybe didn't work out in their first stop in the NBA. Can Kenny Atkinson develop those kind of players alongside LaMelo and alongside Miles Bridges? He seems to have a good chance at it. So this is a smart move by Jordan and the Hornets. LaMelo probably would have won MVP if Mike D'Antoni was the coach, but this will work out as well.
Yeah, LaMelo could work on his development, and I saw you had a solid tweet for Kenny Atkinson's player development.
I'm a little nervous to say it, actually.
I know.
Lamelopment. I'm enjoying watching his lamelopment this season.
I think it's more of a reader.
It's more of a reader.
An out louder. Yeah. Well, that's all right. You went for it. And listen, I'm making the mistake of looking at the free agents list and wondering who could be a big man for this Charlotte Hornets team because I'm starting to get excited. It's grim, but the fact that DeAndre Ayton is on the board now,
that'd be nice.
Well, they've been linked to him as well, but
and they have a lot of depth to trade for him potentially.
Well, but who though? Like Bridges, they're not going to trade him, are they?
No.
You maybe hope that they say, okay, Bouknight and another pick or something like that, but we just haven't seen enough of him for.
Yeah, I want because there was rumors. I mean, these were preliminary rumors from Mark Stein about going after Russell Westbrook. More so because the Hornets wanted to get off some of their long-term money, like Gordon Hayward.
Yes.
But would the Suns be willing to do something like that? They would probably want to get someone big enough. And Gordon can't stay on the floor as well. So I'm just getting a little too excited here looking at this free agent list. It's a little early. It's June 16th. But I'm looking, what I'm also excited about, just to nerd out here for a sec, because I never noticed this before on Sport Track. They have guys' ages, but they also have a decimal point for the current year that they're in. So,
What do you mean?
Who are we talking about first? Zach LaVine.
Okay.
He's 27.2. And
Nice.
so is he an old 27?
Is that like
He's young
27 and 2 months then? Is that how's that broken down?
Yeah, close to 2 months. I
Right.
guess it's like, a fifth of 12
Right,
months.
okay.
So, anyways, he's a young 27.
Right.
What a geek I am. All right, moving on. Who cares? Next one here. Tiny trade.
Little trade here.
Another trade. It's just a small trade. On Monday, the Nuggets sent veteran big man JaMychal Green and a protected first-round pick, which could convey as early as 2027, to OKC in exchange for the number 30 pick in this year's draft and 2 future second-round picks. So the Nuggets and OKC. To facilitate the deal, Green must exercise his option for the upcoming season. Another nerd note right there. Up or down on the Thunder acquiring JaMychal Green trade?
I'm a tepid up on this one. Like, my thumb is just barely pointing past the north-south axis to be up on this one. JaMychal Green, a solid vet. If he ends up sticking around for the Thunder, of course, they get a pick in the future, so nice OKC kind of stuff there. They just always get some random veteran, It was Chris Paul one year. It was Al Horford. Last year it was Derek Favors. I think they're slowly downgrading, it seems, as I read the list as we go along, to now JaMychal Green, but I don't know. He can help alongside Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, whatever guy they get in the draft, and Dort around there. He can shoot the ball sometimes. Last year, not so much, but in general, he's going to be a stretchy guy. So useful, I suppose, to have around, or useful as another trade piece if a contender comes calling around the trade deadline. Though I am definitely down for the Nuggets because this is a complete salary move, I feel, for them, which is not what you want to see with a title contending team that should have their best shot at it come next season, especially after they just lost their GM to a team that wanted to pay him more. So this is going to save $20 million in salary and luxury tax, this trade, which may open then the mid-level exception, the trader player exception. They've got 2 picks in the draft, the Nuggets do. They've got to use these assets to improve their team. Green struggled last year, 26% from 3, but he would probably be more helpful to a Nuggets team trying to win a championship than the last pick of the first round, which they got back in this trade. There's also rumors they're going to use that 30th pick to replace Monte Morris, who they would then ship out. And that's like a double downgrade there. Their bench is getting worse and worse. And we saw last year in the playoffs, they didn't have 2 of their top 3 guys, but they look like a really, really thin team. I guess PJ Dozier's been approved or cleared to start playing again soon, so he could help. But it feels like the Nuggets are going to be cheaping out a little bit on the back end of their roster here. And honestly, you got to try and win it. You've got a 2-time MVP right there. You should be spending every single dollar you possibly can. So foreboding to me from the Nuggets side of this.
And they just got a new GM there too in Calvin Booth. So, but anytime OKC's involved, it's like, okay, there's something else going on here. They're just basically either getting another pick or they're moving down or they're doing something. And that's why I see it. JaMychal Green's one of those guys, I always think he's probably a little bit better than he is. You sort of feel like when he's out there, he's impactful, he's athletic, but the numbers don't really back that up. He's fine, but he's not going to move. He's in OKC because it's like, you're not good enough to really improve us, but you're also, a veteran we can just have around some of the younger players. But yeah, for the Nuggets, a little concerning that there are rumors, the Monte Morris one there as well, where it's like, are they really going to support Nikola Jokic, their MVP here, and just say, we don't care about, money, we're going to go all in, like what the Warriors have done? There's been some really good reports lately on how the Warriors are in this position because they've spent big and it's paid off. Whereas the Nuggets, it feels like they're like, we just want to make sure we don't overspend here, and that's not a good sign to your 2-time MVP. But overall, I'm just completely in the middle of this deal. I'm just like, it doesn't really change anyone on the court today. It's like, okay, fine, a deal happened.
I appreciate you guys going deep on that. We probably went a little too deep, but I think. I'm going to go deep now, too. The Nuggets, I think, can replace JaMychal Green. It is sort of, short term, a little bit worrisome because they were thin in the playoffs, but he didn't produce all that much, and they can go find somebody else, I think, to do that. They invested heavily in Jokic, Murray, and Porter, so they've got to find some wiggle room, and it is a little bit worrisome, but I think they can do it. And then from the OKC side, they give up the 30th pick for a future draft pick when they're probably going to be paying their guys in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Josh Giddey. So it's probably better to get a guy who is, cost controlled down the road rather than now, and it'll probably be better than the 30th pick, unless the Nuggets are cooking. So that's I think a smart move on both fronts, and they'll probably flip JaMychal Green again.
Yes. Yeah, probably.
Keep flipping. Okay, last one here. This one is a strange one. So we're going to show you some of the footage here on YouTube. The Golden State Warriors have banned Klay Thompson impersonator Dawson Gurley, a.k.a. Fake Klay, who looks a lot like Klay, because he somehow made his way into the Warriors arena and shot around for 10 minutes ahead of Game 5 of the Finals. 10 minutes, he got to pretend he was Klay Thompson, a little bit bigger Klay Thompson, and got on the floor. And Gurley released this video that we're showing you here, pulling off the stunt and encountering no resistance from Chase Center security, despite going through several checkpoints. He gets on the floor and pretends he's Klay Thompson, shooting it up. We can critique his shooting form here. Bringing in his water bottles. He's just walking onto the court like he's an NBA player. He said, man, I wouldn't trade this for anything. I got to pretend I was an NBA player for 10 minutes. That's when they yanked him, after 10 minutes as he got onto the floor. So up or down on Fake Klay getting banned for life, Lee?
Well, for life, no, down. I don't think this is a lifetime suspension, but getting some sort of discipline and, banned from, for a year or something like that is probably fine, because, look, it's hilarious. This video is hilarious, but he's also kind of humiliating the team, the organization, and certainly the security members there. Now, look, it was pretty funny to watch how he just sort of strolled by and no one said anything, because you'd think they would recognize Klay just because of his height more than anything else than that guy, and dressed in the uniform.
Yeah. Do basketball players often show up in full uniform hours before the game?
If anyone would, though, I think it would be Klay. I can sort of see Klay do that, because he said, I remember him saying in his young days when he had a bad game, he would drive home in his uniform. So maybe he would turn up like that. But you can't sort of then put this out on social media the way that he's done and really just show up the organization like that and not expect any punishment whatsoever. A life ban, though, look, they also said in that letter they sent to him, I said, if you're going to appeal it, basically write to us and we'll consider it. But it's funny, but he also kind of is embarrassing the organization there, so he deserves to be punished.
Yeah, it's funny and embarrassing, kind of all around.
Yeah.
I do think. Apparently, this guy's 6'5", though. I had to look up his height because I was with you. I was like, his body shape is completely different. Klay's a little taller, certainly a little more slender than Fake Klay is. Also, as soon as he started shooting, weren't people like, hey, that doesn't look like a picture-perfect jump shot?
Yeah.
I guess not, but just weird. This is just weird. I don't know. Tell him he can't come back until the 2023 season or something like that.
I'm okay with the lifetime ban. You can't do it. Yeah, he showed up the entire organization, and then
they should have caught it, though.
Yeah,
there's definitely some blame back and forth.
Yeah, but he sets a precedent for other people to try it as well, potentially.
That's a good point.
We had that guy in New Orleans as well. Remember who just had the same sort of thing. Put the hoodie on, I think. Cover your face a little bit. But he, as far as I remember, the security just said, "Oh, come on, get off," because that was pre-game when everyone was shooting around. They didn't escort him out of the building there, but. He did this for the hits too. This guy wanted the attention, and he got it. And
he's gotten a lot of hits over the years. If you don't know who Fake Klay is, he looks very similar to Klay Thompson. He's been at Warriors games. He's a lifelong Warriors fan. He's gotten photos with Klay, and people have thought he's Klay Thompson over the years. So I think he just did it because he got to be an NBA player for 10 minutes, really. Now, did he do the research? Did he know that Klay shows up in his uniform? I think, the security just screwed up. I would imagine Klay comes in a different entrance than that. I don't know.
Who knows? It did say team and employee entrance or something like that, and he did at least a little bit of homework the facial hair has changed.
Yeah.
You know, fake Klay, much like real Klay, used to just have the very thin goatee, a little bit heavier beard for both of them now. So he's at least going for some of the details, which I think is fair.
But even earlier in the video when he's driving in, he says, "Where do the players park?" Klay's been a Warrior for 11 years. I guess it's a new arena, but he's like, "Hey, where do I park?" Just go there. Okay. Oh, man.
He pulled it off, incredibly so. And to defend the security staff, it's June. You know, they think they're just going through the motions, I'm sure, you know, but
why would they have their antenna up?
Yeah,
I guess is the question. Lee, if you were impersonating an NBA player, who would you impersonate to try and get on the court?
Wow, to try to get on the court. That's a great question. I mean, given my size and someone like Nick Stauskas, you know, so you wouldn't necessarily recognize, you know, he's not a known, you know, if you can't go out there wearing, like, so I'm assuming you'd have to go out in the full uniform and that like that. So yeah, if it was Stauskas, then some of the in-arena workers might be like, it could be him. I'm not sure. I mean, if you go out with, like, you know, Jaylen Brown or Tatum or something on your back, it's like, okay, that's not him. But Stauskas, maybe.
Well, I know you've got the Celtics shorts. I know you've got a Larry Bird warm-up.
Yeah.
We should get you on a plane here pretty quickly to get up to Beantown, see if you can pull it off.
God, that would be hilarious, wouldn't it, to try to get it past as Larry Bird.
You got a Warriors gear too, I assume.
Yeah, I do. I do have the full Steph gear too, and the shoes, in fact.
You got a little bit of a Bielitsa look to you. Maybe a little too short.
Yeah, scruff the hair up a little bit. Yeah.
All right, well, we've got to take a break, but we will get to Game 6 Klay Thompson as we preview Game 6 here. Maybe some more Justin Fields talk, perhaps. See what he's doing at minicamp. But we'll be back to talk Celtics Warriors, the real Celtics Warriors, after the break.
Yeah, guys, I got a existential question for you.
Ooh.
Has your butt been having fun lately?
Oh, I'd like to keep that private, Jet. It's been having a great old time, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you that mine hasn't, because I had a colonoscopy on Friday, and Thursday was pretty rough. So, my butt could use with some fun. So, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to hop right on to SeatGeek here.
Hello.
And, find something to do. Ooh, look at this. Motley Crue
and Def Leppard.
Oh, my God.
Okay. What do we got
Joan
here?
Jett and Poison? Come on.
Oh,
Okay.
my God.
All right.
Where am I sitting here? That's the question.
You're sitting? No, get standing room only, JD, please.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. I like how it still has the baseball field alignment. Yeah. Dugout, infield, $294.
It's great. Yeah. What else? We got Braves tickets. We got the Atlanta United FC. I'd go see that.
Machine Kelly with Avril Lavigne.
Ooh.
Nice.
Who else? And Ian Dior. I don't know who that is. Look at all these green. The green dots mean good.
A lot of greens.
That's a good deal. SeatGeek is so beloved by butts everywhere, they've made it the highest-rated ticketing app, whether it's concerts, baseball, basketball, football, festivals, or anything else. SeatGeek puts tickets from all over the web in one place to make buying simple. SeatGeek rates every ticket from 0 to 10 to make sure you're getting a good deal. Green means good. Red means bad. Bad deal. Don't buy it. If you can get $20 off your first purchase with promo code NODUNKS at SeatGeek.com or on the SeatGeek app. That's promo code NODUNKS for $20 off your first SeatGeek order. SeatGeek. Get your seat in a seat. Download the app today.
Life can be overwhelming and many people are burned out without even knowing it. Symptoms can include lack of motivation, irritability, fatigue. Ever heard of them? I have. I have had lack of motivation, irritability, and fatigue. We associate burnout with work, but that's not the only cause. Any of our roles in life can lead to us feeling burned out. BetterHelp Online Therapy wants to remind you to prioritize yourself. Talking with someone can help you figure out what's causing stress in your life. BetterHelp is customized online therapy that offers video, phone, and even live chat sessions with your therapist, so you don't have to see anyone on camera if you don't want to. It's much, much more affordable than in-person therapy, and you can be matched with a therapist in under 48 hours. Right now, our listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/nodunks. That's betterhelp.com/nodunks.
Back in the Classic Factory, just a comment from Jason Fire 34 before we get to Celtics Warriors Game 6. The players that we would impersonate the best trying to walk into an arena. We got a couple of retired players, the natural. Skeets as Nash, me as Hito Turgaloo, who reportedly wanted to pee on a rookie, J.J. Redick, according to J.J. Redick's most recent podcast with Grant Hill. And Trey as Bill Walton.
Sure. I would say the height is a little bit of a problem. I think he's a legit 7-footer, but thank you for saying so.
You think you can get through a metal detector in stilts?
Wooden stilts?
Yeah.
Yes.
But do they have I guess they don't really have a top. It's just the two walls, right? Now that I think
sometimes they have a lid on it, I feel like, but you could duck. Simply duck.
You could be good on stilts. Yeah. I believe it. Okay, let's get to Game 6 of the NBA Finals. Apologies if you're listening to this after the fact, but let us know if everything we said was absolutely correct, because it will be. The first finals cue here, Lee. Should the Celtics be concerned with, quotes, Game 6 Klay? He's got that nickname for a reason.
Yeah,
Lee.
he has got that nickname for a reason because he's delivered in Game 6 in huge moments. He did it, of course, the biggest one still against the OKC Thunder back in 2016, the 41 with 11 threes. He's done it against the Rockets a couple of times. He did it in this season against the Grizzlies too in Game 6 of that series. Game 6 Klay is legit. There's no doubt about that. And Klay has almost put himself in this situation by the way that he's talked this week alone. Like he said, can't wait to get back to Boston. I'm very excited. I mean, that's giving fuel to Boston to say, hey, we're going to shut this guy up. But instead, Klay, I think that's just him. He does that stuff to almost motivate himself. And also, he kind of got under the skin of the Boston Celtics fans when he criticized them for swearing, especially at Draymond early in the season when they were dropping the FUs to Draymond. So, this is the perfect environment for a villain to come out and just, destroy the other team, which I think Klay could do that perfectly because I don't think he would sort of feel any pressure like that. He'll just go out there and play, and he does this on the big stage. So I hope we get another Game 6 Klay. He even said when he was going through a shooting slump, he Googled Game 6 Klay because he wanted to remind himself just how good he is. There's plenty of footage from him dominating those games. So I hope so because it would just grow the aura too of the Game 6 Klay if he was to do it in the finals, because he hasn't had to do it in the finals basically because there hasn't been a Game 6 other than the Raptors a couple of seasons ago. But I'm very excited for a Game 6 Klay to be trending tonight on Twitter.
What do you think, Trey?
The Celtics definitely got to be concerned with Game 6 Klay because Games 3, 4, and 5 Klay was pretty solid. 21 points per game, 14 of 34 from 3 in those 3 games. That's 41%. I'm not exactly sure when he Googled or YouTubed Game 6 Klay, but if it was before Game 3, then well done to this guy. The defense is also coming around. You've seen a lot of clips on Twitter since Game 5 of Klay being able to stick with Jaylen Brown basically off the dribble, which was going to be a little bit of a concern coming into the series. I think it's really interesting how things have flipped with Klay here and with Draymond, because coming into the playoffs, I was a little worried, there might be times when Steve Kerr has to say, Klay, you don't have it going right now. You're forcing things. Maybe the defense isn't quite there. That's actually been the case with Draymond. He did get benched in the fourth quarter, whereas Klay has been kind of peaking. He might be playing his best, most consistent basketball right now in the finals. So, of course, the specter of Game 6 has got to be hanging over the Celtics' minds.
Yeah, it's a good point about Klay's defense because we did kill him a little bit in the first couple games, but he has come on, and he has been using those Andre Iguodala swipes really, really well, but he is just, physically he's in front of guys, but yeah, he can get beat, and that's why he's been swiping successfully. There's a few steals, and you can watch late in games if the Celtics get a little bit sloppy like they do, keep that ball out. Klay's going to get some steals, so that end has been good. You guys have mentioned the offensive end has been far better as well. 25, 18, and 21 the last 3 games, making 41% of his threes after a slow start to the series when I think he started Googling Game 6 Klay. It was when he started slow. And he loves playing on the road. He loves being the villain. You can see him come out for warm-ups in Game 3 The first game there in Boston, he came out and he wanted more. He was giving the crowd the encouragement to keep cheering for him as he came out or keep booing him, I should say, as he came out for warm-ups. And I just love the nickname Game 6 Klay.
Yeah,
because it's cool.
Really cool.
It's cool, and it's as simple as Klay Thompson, you know? Because Klay keeps it simple. I think if he was giving himself a nickname for Game 6, it'd be Game 6 Klay.
Yeah, that's right.
But they have to be worried. I don't know what it is about Klay. Like, you can't change him. That's the thing that people love about Klay. He never changes, right? He's always chill, never too high, never too low. There's something about that body chemistry that peaks in Game 6s. So that's not going to change. He plays 5 games, feels it out, and we shouldn't be surprised if he has a big Game 6. As you said, Lee, he had 30 in his only Game 6 this postseason against the Memphis Grizzlies. So he's feeling it, and he's feeling it on both ends. And obviously the Warriors going for the kill shot tonight. But what should we be watching for tonight in Game 6, Trey?
Where's Al Horford? Where has Al Horford been since Game 1? Game 1, 24 points for Big Al, 9 of 12 from the field, 6 threes, got our Brownlow medal votes, all 3 of them for their coming in first after that game. Since Game 1, though, Al Horford scored 32 points on 11 of 23 shooting, made just 5 3-pointers. I think maybe having Draymond Green roaming a little bit more rather than being necessarily the Horford matchup has been a bit of a problem. He's been good defensively, I feel like Horford seems to slow down a little bit in fourth quarters with regards to protecting the rim, and he's just been invisible offensively, which is a problem for the Celtics, much the same way like when Draymond Green isn't looking to score. It's a problem for the Warriors. He's a good release valve, Horford is. He's a great connector. He's a good decision maker. But the Celtics just can kind of get away from their best offense, the ball switching sides of the court, the driving kicks, or the wide open pick and pops for Horford. So I would like to see him have a more productive game tonight. I also think the Celtics need to push the pace a little bit here. They have had very few transition opportunities against the Warriors, which then gives the Warriors a chance to set up their defense, maybe force some more turnovers and go back the other way for easy ones for Golden State. And it'd be nice to see a big Jason Tatum game tonight. He's 30% from 2-point range so far in this series, shooting the 3-ball really well, 41%, but we saw him outduel Giannis in Giannis's best game maybe of this postseason, getting that huge Game 6 win in the second round. They're going to need something similar tonight because you have to assume Steph is going to bounce back after not having a great shooting night in Game 5. So Tatum may need to outduel Steph Curry tonight. That's a tall task, but he's a solid player. He's really good, and this has been his best year, though he hasn't had an incredibly efficient final. So let's see something from Horford, go a little bit faster, and we need a big-time Tatum game.
Yeah, and Tatum's got to take care of the ball better. In their wins, only 2 turnovers a game. In their losses, nearly 5 a game, and a lot of those just sloppy. And I think we saw that against Miami too, where he just seems to get careless with the ball. And that's something that affects the Celtics, affects the Warriors too at times as well. But I think Jason Tatum knows tonight he cannot afford any of those careless turnovers that have cost the Celtics at times throughout the playoffs. So I expect him to have a better game and to be a bit more aggressive too. If he's got a mismatch, he's got to go at Steph Curry. He's got to make sure that he gets a good high percentage shot off or he drives inside. And if they can get Steph into foul trouble, because he has been in foul trouble in a couple of games, that's, I think, also key. If they can make it so that Steph defensively has to work in Game 3, especially when he was in foul trouble, Marcus Smart really went at him, and I think that's what they have to do tonight, the Celtics. They haven't, they've sort of let go of the rope a little bit here, and they were in a really strong position up until the last 6 minutes of Game 4. They could have been up 3-1 in this series, I think, and now they're in a must-win situation just to keep their season alive. So it starts with Tatum and Brown as their 2 leaders. They've got to take care of the ball and make sure they're getting good quality shots.
That's what I'm watching for. You mentioned last 6 minutes of Game 4, then it happened in Game 5, the late game execution. And Tatum in Game 5, his last 8 shots were miss, airball, airball, miss, airball, miss, 3, airball.
It's a lot of airballs.
Wow. Yeah, it's shocking. Ime Udoka, Celtics head coach, mentioned it could be fatigue. Obviously, the Celtics went to 2 7-game series prior to the finals, while the Warriors got the conference finals done in 5. They were resting, they were chilling. And it just hasn't happened in the fourth quarter for the Celtics. We just haven't had a tight game either in the finals down to the wire. We haven't had a final score within 1 possession, not even 2 possessions, not even a final score within single digits. Every game has been a double-digit victory. And I think that's because the Celtics are struggling in tight games in the fourth quarter. 2 games in a row, a lack of execution down the stretch. Even going back to the last couple series, even though they've gotten here, they mostly win in blowout games 2 and 4, the last 2 series in games that were close versus the Bucks and the Heat. Now they blew out the Warriors in Game 3 in their last win in this series. In Game 1, they had that 40-point fourth quarter where they came back, which was
feels like that
second
was like
half blowout
a month ago though, that game already. It's like, wow.
So if it does go down to the wire, even though this game is in Boston, we just haven't seen them, go toe to toe, punch for punch, blow for blow with a team here in the finals. So will that happen for the Boston Celtics at least once in this finals? And are they just gassed? And will this Warriors be able to end it? And that gets to our predictions, and I'll start it for us. I think the Warriors have a couple things going on their side. You mentioned Curry having an off game, 0 for 9 from 3. You expect him to bounce back because this was his first game in his playoff history where he hadn't hit a three-pointer. Going way back, he hadn't hit one. So you expect him to bounce back, not only just because he was cold and he couldn't find his flow and you could see him, doing what everybody else does, like mimicking his shot. What's going on here? This is the best shooter of all time. But also because the Celtics and Ime Udoka changed their defense in Game 5. It took them till the 5th game, which I think was a surprise to everybody, including Steph, where they started fronting him. They just started tracking him all over the floor, and kudos to the Celtics. That was a shock, and I think it shocked Steph a little bit, took him out of the game a little bit, so I think they react a little bit better, maybe have Steph on the ball, pick and roll earlier in the game, which they don't really want to do because it burns out Steph, but maybe they have to. I think they'll be ready for that to go along with Game 6 Klay. I think the Warriors' best players will be feeling it tonight, so I would pick the Warriors, especially with the late game execution. I don't know if it's fatigue or whatever with the Celtics, but I got the dubs. Trey, what do you got?
Celtics have played a ton of minutes. Tatum number 1 in minutes played so far in the postseason, followed by Brown and Horford. Going to 7-game series, it adds up eventually. But the Celtics do go to a lot of Game 7s, and we going to Game 7, baby! Nothing easy for the Warriors tonight. Nothing easy for the Celtics. Sometimes from their own doing. But they hadn't lost back-to-back games before they lost Game 5. The Warriors, like I said a couple of days ago, haven't yet won a road elimination game. Something's got to give. The Warriors fans are saying, we're going to break another streak here. But the Celtics have been an incredibly resilient team for the entirety of the playoffs, basically since January when they turned their season around. It seems like they are at their best when their backs are against the wall. So I assume we're going to get a classic game tonight, and I'm going with the Beantown Boys.
Love the positivity. Classic game. Just give us a classic game.
Gotta be a classic. We need one cruncher.
Yeah.
One cruncher.
One crunchy.
I think the Warriors' experience is starting to shine through. They were down 2-1. They didn't panic. They were saying, hey, man, we've been here before. We feel good about ourselves. And the last 2 games, they've done a pretty good job of showing that. And Andrew Wiggins has been really, really good. Overall, I think they're second best player of the finals here. And that's huge for the Warriors because they can afford a night where Steph doesn't have a great game and still win that one. I don't expect Steph to go 0 for 9 tonight. I expect him to make 1-3. I'm going on the record. Steph will make a 3-pointer tonight. But again, I think that is where experience really plays out. It's like, hey man, we don't all have to be at our best every single night. We've got other guys who can contribute and play well. It's going to be tough. It's going to be a very hostile environment there in Boston. We heard it last week. It was super loud. They're going to be making noise as much as they can out there. But I just think the Warriors have realized, we don't want to go to Game 7 either. We want to close this out tonight if we can, even though they're at home. If it would to go the distance here, they want to end it, and I think they're going to tonight in it. But I do think we are going to get a close one. It's not going to be a blowout. I think under double digits the result is going to be, and Steph makes 1-3. There you go. Take that to the bank.
Yeah, 132 games with a 3, only 1 without a 3 for Steph Curry in his playoffs career. And Trey mentioned on our immediate reaction podcast after Game 5, and that one that you will get after Game 6 tonight, that the Warriors are they're 0 for 3 in their ability or with their chances to close out a team this postseason in the first opportunity. They've lost to the Nuggets, lost to the Grizzlies, and lost to the Mavs in their first opportunity to close out the games, or close out the series, and that obviously happens tonight for the first time, so we shall see. But I do hope we're going to a Game 7, baby.
We all hope so.
I did see a photo of Zaza Pachulia, who works for the Warriors, from our man Marcus Thompson at The Athletic. Jamal Crawford's son wanted to meet Steph Curry after a game.
Okay.
So that was taking place, and Zaza Pachulia was there. with his floods, his pants showing off his ankles, he's there. He's sorry, I only have it on my computer.
Yeah.
You're not seeing it on YouTube.
He looks all right, though.
He does look great. He looks great. And
Looks like a J. Crew model. He's wearing New Balances with khakis and a blazer. Fancy guy. Do you think the Warriors, if they lose it, do you think they have Zaza do we going to Game 7 like for the internet kind of video?
I hope so.
That'd be awesome.
great
Yeah.
question.
Yeah.
Great question.
We need an update because that one is so grainy as well now. It's
Yeah,
like-
that's an SD.
Yeah,
no doubt.
Yeah, it feels like another lifetime. But
All right, Lee, according to BetMGM, what do you think the over-under is for three-pointers tonight for Steph Curry?
3.5.
4.5.
4.5.
Not bad.
Okay, yeah.
I was thinking it was going to be 0.5 after
Right.
Brickfest in Game 5. The guys lost it.
Yeah.
You going over or under? 5 threes tonight, or you're just saying one exactly?
No, I'll go over. I'll take the over. I hope
okay.
so.
Yeah.
I would love to see a big Steph bounce back. So give me 5.
Nice. We stay on this podcast long enough. He's like, this guy's going for 15 threes today.
You expect Steph to have a bounce back game, and there will be talk about it on our Game 6 reaction podcast on YouTube. We're going to take a quick break. JD got me excited for Tweet of the Night. Not to spoil your what you got coming up here, but JD's got a bit for Tweet of the Night. Ain't that right, JD?
Of sorts.
All right.
A bit of sorts.
Sort of bit coming up after the break.
Pretty excited as always for the Helix ad read, even more so than normal today because I'm also going away off the script here, JD. I hope this is okay because I want to talk about my own personal recent experience with Helix because I was one of the lucky ones a year or so ago when they sent out a mattress to a couple of us here and I got one and it was so good. And then recently, my wife and I decided we've sort of moved some things around the house. We've got some people coming over to stay again. You know, it's been so long. So we decided, let's put the good mattress down there for the guests and let's get ourselves another brand new Helix mattress. Went online and I ordered the king size. And I got matched with the Helix Dusk King. Medium firmness, good for stomach sleepers, which I am. You know what, though? After a couple of weeks of sleeping on it, I was like, it's actually a little soft for me. My wife is fine. She's like, she doesn't really care. She's like, it's fine. But I said, look, Helix has an awesome policy. You get 100 nights free to try this mattress out, right? Risk-free. And if you don't like it, you just can basically replace it. So I went online and I decided I want a different mattress. I went for one a little bit firmer, got matched, went on the quiz again, got matched with the Dusk Helix Twilight. A little bit firmer for me. Again, my wife's kind of like, she sleeps like a bear, a grizzly bear, so she's like, I don't really care. And I just want to say, this Helix return exchange program works as advertised. The best thing as well, right? You know, sometimes with these return policies, 100 days, you think they're going to be like, oh, what's wrong with it? You know, you're just being picky.
Sure.
No, not at all. It's like, all you got to do is just go and buy the other one, we'll replace it, and we'll refund you the cost of the first one, which is just perfect. And it works like that. So do yourself a favor. If you want a good night's sleep on a good mattress, go to helix.com/nodunks and you'll get up to $200 off your order and 2 free pillows, which, by the way, these pillows aren't just throw-ins. These are fantastic pillows. In fact, I could have used one, and I think Trey could have done it in Boston last week. I mean, no one's going to, you know, I don't want anyone to try to feel sorry for us here, but the hotel pillows, there was 4 to choose from. I went none for 4 on those pillows. I was twisting them and turning them and trying to stack them on top of each other. One way too soft, one way too thick. The Helix pillows, perfect. So next trip, I'm stuffing a king-size pillow into my bag. I don't care. I'm doing that. Anyway, as I say, Helix is offering up to $200 off all mattress orders and 2 free pillows for our listeners at helixsleep.com/nodunks. Go for it.
We've got a Giannis Antetokounmpo video coming out soon. It's a short vid where I patronize the audience about the spelling of his name and the Greek alphabet. I sound a lot like the dad in My Big Fat Greek Wedding. Miller come from the Greek word milo, which is mean apple. So, there you go. When JD wins an award for the editing on it, I'm getting my suit for that award ceremony from Indochino. Because let's face it, it's not going to be an Oscar. Sorry, JD. But it'll be a smaller award show that'll give us like 2 weeks' notice, and I'll have to order it that second. And Indochino will make me look good. And I got my stats all up on Indochino's website. It's great because you can take your own measurements at home, enter your info, and they're on the site forever. Mine have been there for years. And then you can add customizations, which are all included in the very reasonable price. And when we win that award, I can add something special to the customizations for that event. Maybe get Greek Freak embroidered on the cuff, or the old spelling of his last name on one and the new spelling on the other. Luckily, Indochino doesn't charge by the letter. Ha 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 ha. There I am being the Greek dad again. Now, you can customize every detail on suits starting from just $4.29 and shirts from just $79. Options for fabrics, lapel shape, button type, statement linings, and more. They've got some nice, relaxed spring pastels, too. If you've got a big day coming up, getting the perfect look is no big deal with Indochino. Get $50 off any purchase of $3.99 or more by using promo code NODUNKS at Indochino.com. That's $50 off a purchase of $3.99 or more at INDOCHINO.com, promo code NODUNKS. Back in the Classic Factory, it's time for Tweet of the Night.
Tweet of the night. Wow.
Twitter.
What do you got, JD?
Yeah, tweet of the night. Hey, you guys remember these people? Oops. Hey.
Which people are you referring to?
Hold on.
I like the intro is very conversational. Hey.
Yeah. Hey.
There he is.
Remember these people? Wait, is this gonna work?
Going out to eat.
Oh, yeah.
Going out to eat.
Going out to eat. What are we doing? We're a family. We're going out to eat.
That's right.
I remember those words.
How could we
remember them.
forget? Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to recreate that right now with a slight tweak. Okay?
Wow.
So ready? Listen to what I say, and then we're going to go around the horn. Ready? We're going out for drinks.
We're going out for drinks.
We're going out for drinks.
Going out for drinks.
We're a podcast, and we're going out for drinks. That's right, we're going out for drinks, you guys. And everyone is invited. We are going to this place, Starboard Tech in Las Vegas. Let me get the dates up here. I believe it's September. Wow. Saturday, July 9th at Starboard Tech. That's 2601 Atlantic Street in sunny, super hot Las Vegas. It's Summer League, and we're going out for drinks. It's a fan meetup. There's no show. There's just shaking hands and clinking glasses and, I don't know, eating oysters, it looks like.
I seem to remember Matt Austin having like a gigantic tray of appetizers at some point the last time we were at Starboard Tech.
We got to get him to come and just sort of, serve apps, I'd love that. A huge tray and just...
It's only a short drive from LA, too.
quick.
He can make it, yeah.
I mean, is it short? How long
4
is it
hours.
from LA? 4 hours, that's not bad.
Yeah.
So it's a fan meetup, and this is perfect because I know that there's people who have tweeted me and say, man, I tune out every time you talk on the podcast, so those people won't be there because they're not hearing this.
Suckers.
So, yeah, no tweet, just a promo for a party that we're just hanging out in Las Vegas, and I actually can't wait. The last time we were here was our final Summer League wrap party when we were the starters.
Right.
It was like 4 years ago.
Wow, yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
2018.
Wow.
Nice. That's July 9th, you said, JD?
July 9th. Saturday, July 9th. 7 p.m. Starboard Tech. It's off the strip, too, so it's chill.
Very chill spot.
It's great. And Lee set it up, so thank you, Lee.
You're welcome. Thanks
Nicely
to
done.
Johnny Shahani, long-time Tweet of the Week Army Corporal.
Oh, come on. He's promote him.
Well, I don't know the ranking. Like, where do you go from corporal to what?
Sergeant, maybe?
Sergeant.
No, corporal is above sergeant. I don't know that.
I feel like lieutenant's a big one.
Lieutenant.
I don't know how it ranks, but it seems good.
Lieutenant Johnny Shahani. Well done. Thanks.
Yeah, he used to come. He would come to every single one of our Summer League shows.
Absolutely.
Every single one.
Yep.
Well done.
So that's it. You might meet a few starters / no dunks fans as well. Maybe Jeeves will make the trip out there.
Coast to coast cheese.
Can you imagine?
That's crazy.
Hats for everyone.
So, you said that Johnny is a corporal in the Tweet of the Week Army, but this is certainly more of like a Navy themed bar that we're going to. I would say so. Like sailor hats, welcome.
Oh, I like it. Yeah.
We
could recreate the scene from what's a movie with Top Gun where they do the singing in a bar, don't they? Although that's more the Air Force, isn't it? Really.
I thought you were going to say we could recreate the shirts off volleyball scene, which we also can't do. It'll be very hot out there.
Yeah. Trey, actually, speaking of shirts off, he wanted to play shirts and skins last night at pickup basketball.
Yeah, no other takers, unfortunately. But maybe at Starboard Tack, 7 p.m. seems like a little early for shirts off.
Yeah.
11:30 though.
Yeah, that's it. When you've had a few drinks, people are a bit more loose by then.
That's why we're getting it started early.
Yeah.
So the shirts come off a little bit earlier. Looking forward to that at Starboard Tack. Good bet, JD. Good bet. I like the swing from the family. Do you think the family would like to go eat at Starboard Tack? That particular family? They could probably hang there.
I mean, it's pretty easy to picture them there, to be honest.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, hope to see them there. I'll send them a DM. Can you DM on TikTok? I don't know.
Yeah, that's someone like Top Gun is they're Navy they're Navy pilots, aren't they?
I think so.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I am right. Okay. Yeah.
All right, so we're doing a full Top Gun recreation.
Top Gun theme. Yeah.
Yep.
That's like one of the most cringe scenes ever for me.
With what? When they're singing?
When he's singing.
You'll never close your eyes anymore when I kiss your lips. I'm going to sing that to JD at 11:35.
No, you're not.
Shut down the bar. Everybody go home. JD's going to call it right then and there.
But Jay, he says that. But JD, he'll love it. He'll love it if he plays the Kelly McGillis, isn't it?
Kelly McGillis.
You can play that role.
Okay. Sure. She hated it most of all in that bar, I think. Didn't she?
Well, then it's fitting.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, perfect. Cast perfectly. All right. Game 6 reaction podcast tonight as we record here before Game 6, Thursday evening, 9 Eastern. Can't wait. I say the time because I'm just ready. I'm ready for a close game. Hopefully we get a Zaza Pachulia social vid, as Trey said. Hopefully he's not stepping under anybody. Anyways, we will be back with that show. And then hopefully I say hopefully, if it does end, we'll all be on that show. We'll all be chatting Game 6.
Pot of record, I've heard.
Pot of record, I've heard. If not, pot of record Friday. In
Another
studio.
pot of record Sunday. Yes.
Yes. Another pot of record. All right. That's it for us. Clipper Bros.
You heard it here first. Have a great time. Turn up. Love you guys. Awesome.
Thanks for joining us, and remember, we're a podcast, and on July 9th, we're going out for drinks in Las Vegas at Starboard Tack.
Embrace the evening, people.